Good morning, class.
Good morning.
So this morning we'll be working on another word problem as a group, right? Because as a group it's nice, right? Because you can share each other's ideas. If you get stuck, what can you do? Are you alone or can you work with other people? Right. So can we look at the board, please? So when you're working as a group, there's some things I want you to focus on. Our eyes here, thumbs up. Here we go. As a group, be sure to persevere and make sense of the problem. Are you gonna go right here?
No.
Where are you gonna start?
Step one.
Right. And are you gonna look at the problem the first time and go, this is too hard, I quit?
No.
No, you're gonna persevere, right? And you're not doing it alone, right? Next, be able to explain your reasoning. Right? That's the big part about 5th grade math. Not only do you have to solve it, don't you have to be able to explain why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, next, be accurate and precise. Right? Calculations, if you make one little mistake, it can mess it up, correct?
Uh-huh.
Right, so be accurate and precise in how you write. And then finally, help each other and work together. Right? When you're in business, do you think you're always going to be working on your own?
No.
No. Most of the time, you're going to be working with a team, right? So work as a team and help each other, okay? Your goal today is to work together to go through the steps to solving. Your goal today is to work together using these rules to solve a word problem. What is your first step?
Read, mark, and annotate to understand.
The goal is to understand first, correct? What's next?
Organize and plan.
What are different ways you've organized and planned? Anijali.
Make an equation.
Make an equation. How else? Draw what? Draw a picture. Another one. Draw a tape diagram. You know how to do this, right? And then when you do 1 and 2, you can move on to solving. Do you have any questions? Okay. Miss Noller and I will be coming around, right? And just talk about how you're doing, if you have any questions. So if you're stuck on something, don't worry, we'll be coming around. Thumbs. I see thumbs up for that group. Asiel, how are we feeling? Put down, please.
Juliet.
Thumbs up for that group. Thumbs up for that group. Great. 15 minutes? Oh, we should read the problem. Here we go. Because I'm so nice, I'm going to read the problem to you.
Are you really?
Am I? I'm probably not, right? All right, here we go. A container. That's such a nice picture, isn't it? A container holds 0 7/10 liters of oil and vinegar. You ever have oil and vinegar? Like in a salad or something? A container holds 7/10 liters of oil and vinegar. 3/4 of the mixture is vinegar. How many liters of vinegar are in the container? Express your answer as both a fraction and a decimal. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, get started. Go ahead. Okay, so why do you do that?
So we can understand.
Okay. So have you talked about it yet? So, yeah, so I would recommend to you your next step, just talk about it first, right? Because what can talking do?
The other person.
Yeah, right? I know for me, when I have a problem, a lot of times it helps me a lot if I just talk it out with someone. Doesn't that ever happen? Okay. So can you talk it out? Let me hear you talk it out.
Well, why are you?
0.7
Justin did something that's helpful to share
a
with you.
fraction
What did
because
you do?
7/10.
Ladies, hands
Oh.
hands down.
So what did Montreal just say that was important?
He said that 0.7 is equal to 7/10.
Do you think that's important?
Oh, why does that matter?
Why do you
Because
think that's important?
we have to do the important parts of the problem.
So what made what you said important?
Because like
Well,
this is a
sometimes it's not gonna make
decimal
sense,
area.
but what is the
We have
question?
to make this a fraction.
Did you hear what he just said? He referred to a part of the problem and it says express your answer as both a fraction and as a decimal. So what did Montreal do? He saw the first number that was a decimal and what did it say?
Did fraction or decimal in the information next language.
He converted it. Very nice. I think you're on your way. How are we doing? We feeling good? So talk about it as you do it, because I promise you it will help you understand. Do you have any questions for me? You good? Okay, keep going. Nice job. So tell me where you all are. Annotate. And why do you annotate?
So we don't have to go back to the problem. We have it right.
Okay. So let me hear your discussion so far.
So we know that there's oil and vinegar equals 0.7 liters. 0.7
Okay. Oh, there's oil and vinegar. Why does that matter?
Because that's how much we have.
Is it how much you have? It's what you have, right? Because when you're dealing with combinations of things, don't you need to know all the parts? Okay, continue please.
So a mixture of vinegar equals 3/4.
So how much vinegar does it have? 3/4. I see you all writing something. Can you explain what you're writing?
We're writing for the second one. We're writing 3/4 is mixture is vinegar.
Mixture of 3/4.
So, but what I'm asking is, why are you writing that?
To understand.
Okay.
To know what we're doing.
And how is this helping you understand?
Get lost, we can remember what to do.
Okay.
We'll remember the steps that's happening to help us solve the problem.
Okay. So how does this, for example, let's look. Anjali wrote,
Once you said it.
oil and vinegar equals 0.7 liters. How does writing that help
So
you?
work together as a group now though.
Because we know that's what you know you have.
Oh, so there it is, right? So you're writing what you know, what you have and what you know, right? So it looks like you're taking the information you need from the word problem and you're taking it out. Is that what you're doing? Do you have any questions for me or you're good so far? Do you need for me to get away from you so you can work on your own? How are we doing? Good. So where are you? What's up? What's going on?
We already
Explain the problem
read
with
it and we already
no
annotated
numbers.
it. So we did 7 times 3/4.
So I have a question first.
Stop writing.
Why'd you annotate?
We annotate to understand.
Okay. My next level question. So you wrote what you know, right? So how does that help you?
It helps us gather information.
Okay, hold on, what?
It helps us gather information.
You're gathering. Why not just it's already here. Why bother writing
It
it?
could be easier.
Understand it.
So a container holding oil and vinegar.
And like,
How does because this information's already here.
To make
correct?
it easier to look at.
What'd you just say?
To make
So
it
the
easier
whole
to look
container
at.
itself and a
Because
fraction of.
isn't it? I love how you're taking what you need from the word problem and you're taking it out, aren't you? Are you taking out everything?
No.
What are you taking out?
A fraction.
That's lovely. Right? Because isn't part of solving a word problem just getting what you need and getting rid of what you don't?
What else though?
And it looks like that's what you're doing.
What else though?
So what's your next step now? What are you
So
doing?
we did 7 times 3/4, and we did 10 times 3/4, and we got 40, and then
Whoa. So are we already solving?
Yeah.
So think about this first. What do you do before solving? Why? Yes. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but why should you kind of organize and plan your solution first?
Figure out what you do.
God, don't you think you should figure out what you're gonna do first?
Your what?
Now, my guess is you kind of know what you're doing, right? But when you're sharing your work with a word problem,
Adding more.
shouldn't you show your reasoning,
Okay.
right? So tell me your reasoning in words. Why did you decide to multiply?
because it says
Jalea.
it says 7 liters of vinegar
mean yes. You want part.
Why did she stress the word of?
Because it said
Julio.
It means multiplying.
Why?
Well,
I'm not asking you if it's right or wrong. I'm asking you why you did that.
since it says 0.7 liters
Oh, because what does that mean? That means you're gonna want a fraction of it, correct? Or part of it? Go ahead.
So of is like a keyword in math. And we had to make 7 times.
How do you write your
Oh,
expression?
you did a couple of things. So the first thing you did was you realized that the word of is an indicator for multiplying, right? You also noticed that this was a decimal, and what did Fadiel write on top of it? But he wrote it as a what?
As a fraction. So it
Can you explain your reasoning with that?
So,
Go ahead.
so then when we're gonna multiply 7 tenths on times 3/4, it makes it easier, and you could divide. I mean, you can multiply by a fraction.
So I compliment you because not only did you figure out the operation you're using, you also figured out what you needed to do in order to multiply it. Correct? Because can you multiply a fraction by a decimal?
No,
No. It has to be what?
a fraction.
It has to be, they either have to be both fractions or both decimals. So what I noticed, right? I noticed that you found keywords. What else did you notice that was good?
We noticed that it says express your answer as both a fraction and a decimal.
So why did you say that?
Because we need to express our answers using fractions and decimals.
So this is what I'm hearing. You're reading the problem very carefully. Because don't you think it's very easy to just miss one of those?
Yeah.
So I noticed that you're being accurate and precise with your reading.
What amount is
Right?
in a container?
So accurate and precise with your
7
reading.
tenths. Isn't 7 tenths the amount that you have to start
And
with?
we put the units.
And you're taking a fraction of
Ooh.
your 7
Say that
We
again?
put the units
Yeah.
because it's lower.
Do you remember in the beginning of the year when all we paid attention to was the number?
Shows you understand what's happening.
I'm not seeing that at
Now
all.
it's multiplication
I'm seeing you focusing on both the number and the
of your
units.
total. Not
So,
the total of your
I see very high level thinking here.
And we're also paying attention to the word problem when you're doing it.
So, thumbs up. How are you feeling about this word problem? Are you thumbs up, in the middle, or down?
It was pretty easy.
So you have a plan now?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much for letting me part of your group. Okay? I don't think you need me. Right? So I'm gonna get out of here. Okay? So how's this group doing? Can you share with me where you all are? If you could speak loudly, Miss Journey.
The organizing plan.
Okay. So tell me what's happening with your organizing and planning. Who would like to share? Go ahead, Alexa.
We're making an equation, and our equation was 7 tenths times 3/4,
Okay.
and we got a total of 21 over 40.
So you made an equation. How did you decide to come up with it? How did you decide to represent it by making an equation? She doesn't have to be the only one that speaks. How'd you do it? Why not a picture? Why not a tape diagram? How come an equation?
But you didn't even say what
Because that would be easier to make an equation.
Isn't it nice just to pick the easier thing to do? So here's my question to you. Why was it easier to make an equation for this problem as opposed to like a picture or as opposed to a tape diagram? Because I agree with you. So, but why was it easier?
Because we did. Because we can.
Was there anything in the word problem that made it easier to think of it as an equation? What did you say? You said the word of.
It says 3/4.
What about the word of? Of is such a little word.
Because it tells us that we have to multiply.
Oh. So you're using the clues from the word problem to figure out your equation, right? Who else? Jeremiah, did you notice the word of? Can you show me where the word of is? Read it. Read. Container. hold 7/10. There it is, right? So usually, now not all the time though, right? But usually of means that you're gonna multiply, correct? Let me ask you a deeper question. Think about why we're using to multiply, right? Didn't we talk about sets of things? Yeah. So when we're saying 7/10 liters of oil and vinegar, or 3/4 of the mixture, are we talking about sets here? So if you say 3/4 of something, do you have a whole set of something or a part of it? Oh. And if you want to get a part of something, what operation is that? It's multiplying, right? So I noticed what you do. You use the word of, and I think I agree with you. The word of makes it easier to make an equation, right? Because you realize the word of meant to multiply, right? Okay. Can someone explain the equation that you used? Justin, can you explain? Nice and loud.
3/4 times 7/10.
Now, who agrees with that equation? You agree? You agree? You agree? Prove it to me. Prove to me that that's the appropriate equation for this problem.
Because we are the 3/4 we are taking it away from the 7.
The 7.
From the 7/10.
By the way, I know you're still learning English. So that was pretty good though, wasn't it? Wasn't that good? So here's my thing. What's the total amount that you have?
7/10.
You have 7/10, right? Is the vinegar all of that? So, right. So can you explain using that language why you decided to multiply that?
We use to multiply that to see
Because you don't have, can I share this? So you don't have all of the 7/10, correct? How much do you have of that? There it is, right? So it sounds like you chose 3/4 to multiply with because you don't have one whole set of the 7/10. What fraction of the 7/10 do you have?
7/10.
No, you have 7/10 total, but is that all vinegar? What is it? How much is the vinegar? There it is, right? So it sounds like that's why you're multiplying by a fraction. Okay? Do you have any questions for me to keep going?
Why are you getting common
Or are you
denominator?
good to go?
Yes, you did.
You're good to go. So what's your next step from where you are? Time to solve it, right? I compliment this group. Let me see. So what I realized, you also found the right words to understand, right? The key words. You also showed your understanding of operations, right? You knew when to multiply, right? Like you knew you were going to multiply and not divide, right? So you have a good understanding of the operation.
Mr. Makara, you put it in the wrong group.
Thank you. I did. Words to keywords. Thank you for helping me understand
No, because Jack, it's not saying. I understand where you're confused. It's not
the operations.
saying, it's not
Anything else that you noticed that you were all good at?
saying I have a
Yeah, so you were good at annotating. Like Mr. Makeda wasn't good at the annotating. Now I am. You annotated well. Any other things you thought you were good at?
Making the equation.
Say again?
Making the equation and putting finding keywords.
Finding keywords, right? Jeremiah, how do you think the group is performing, behaving together? How is it good? Why is it good? So you're paying attention to each other. Good. I have to say I completely agree with you. So nice job. Oh, I'm gonna write down you organized by using an equation. Okay? So thumbs up. Keep going. And you may begin.
So first
So you can present here, right?
Yes.
So a container holds 0 times of oil and vinegar. 3/4 of the mixture is vinegar. How many liters of vinegar are in the container? Let's the answer at both a fraction and a decimal. So first, what we annotated was a container holds 0 times liters of oil and vinegar, and our second step was 3/4 mixture of vinegar. Then we did how many liters of vinegar are in the container, and that's what we have to find.
Okay. Before we move on to the next step to solving a word problem, can you give compliments and next steps to how they understood the problem? Montreal.
I really like how to like you annotated and like you circle the things to understand the problem, and you annotated on the like to like understand like what you see write down so you can remember. But your next step is label like the things.
Label what?
Label like 7 liters is like physical because we have to name the units.
So Montreal, I think they did. Because do you see how they took 0 and 7/10 liters and put an arrow?
Yeah.
Right? So I think they did do that. Right? Other people, one more. Arhenis, can you comment, please?
I like how you did the annotating. I like how you did 1 and 2 because it understands like what they're doing. So the next step could be that you should put step 1 and step 2 on the solving.
Okay. Well, are they there yet?
No.
Not yet, right? But I agree with Arhenis. I love how you numbered it. Does it look very organized? Yeah. Would you have any next steps for them? It's okay if you don't. Go ahead.
Is that the next step? But I want to compliment them. I like how when they finished, they wrote a sentence.
Oh. So you're speeding up. We'll get there, I promise. All right. So can we give a hand to Fadia for sharing that part? Okay, who's gonna share next? Julio, go ahead.
Okay. So the reason why we multiplied 0.7 liters is because we turned 0.7 liters into a fraction that gave us 7/10 liters. The reason why we got 7/10 liters as a fraction, it's because because there's 1, 2, which is the 10, place value. Here's the 10, and we multiplied 7/10 by 3/4, and also how we knew how to why we multiplied, it's because of which is the meaning of multiplying, and so we multiplied 7/10 times 3/4, and it gave us 21/4 liters of vinegar.
Okay. Comments? Isaiah, nice and loud, please.
Maybe I have one of the next steps you can do. Maybe you can just like make it a little more neat because don't just cram it in there because it looks a little crammed.
Okay. So you're saying just make it a little neater. So it's not the content that you were evaluating, right? It was just how it looked, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Montreal.
So I really like how you got the answer by multiplying by looking at the cues of the main, because when you look at the word problem it says of 3 times.
Okay.
But
So
your next step is I got 2 next steps. First is make the answer a decimal, and the second step is keep the tick diagram.
Okay.
because-
So question, did you just run at it, did I cut it short and you were gonna do the decimal next? Is that what you're doing? Okay, so I think that happened to a lot of you, correct? That you got one way, but you didn't do the other way because of time? But here's my challenge to you. Does a word of always mean it's multiplying?
No.
So then how do you figure it out? I think of is a great start, but then how did you figure out in your head that multiplying is definitely what it should be? That is what you should be doing. Okay, who's confused? Is it okay to be confused? Be brave, people. You can be confused right now.
I think it says how many layers.
Okay. So who's confused about why it's of, aside from the fact that it's a keyword? Okay. Okay. Learning time. You ready? Okay. How much do I have total?
0, 4 times 0, 7 times.
I have 7/10 of a liter, correct? What's in this mixture?
Vinegar and oil.
2 things, correct? We need to find out the vinegar, correct? Is the vinegar all of it?
No.
What is it?
A fraction.
Ah, it's not the whole thing, correct?
Yeah.
It's a fraction of it. And how do we calculate getting a fraction of a number? That's multiplication. So not only is the word of kind of hinting it's multiplication, but the fact that you're getting a part of what you're starting out with also indicates that it's multiplying. Okay? All right, next person. Go.
So we did 21. We did 21 divided by 40. So we were finding out what number, like we could multiply. We could subtract 2. So then we use 9 because it's the closest number to it. So we did we did 21 because first we did 0 because we can't do 21.
Okay. Does anyone have comments on what they're doing? So it looks like what they're doing is they took 21 over 40 and they're dividing something. Does anyone have any comments about this? Take a look at it.
Yeah. I like how you keep going.
Well, hold on. A fraction is a division equation, correct? What's the division equation? 21 divided by 40. What goes in the house?
40.
Oh, is it always the bigger number that goes inside?
No, the first number.
It's the 21. Isn't it the total amount that you have? Take a look at this fraction. Which number tells you how much you have, the 40 or the 21? 21. So what should be in the house? Does everyone hear that? Right? The 21 should be in there. And what should be the divisor? 40. Why do you think they made their mistake? Why do you think they made that mistake, Anijali?
Because 40 was the bigger number.
Did you hear her? Can you confess? How many of you sometimes choose your dividend because it's the bigger number? Come on, fess up. Yeah, I did that too when I was a kid. I understand, right? Because I think in a lot of times, it is often the bigger number that you're breaking up, correct? But is that what's happening here?
No.
It's not. So don't get tricked with that, right? Your numerator is your dividend. It's the number that you're gonna put in the house. So what's their next step gonna be?
Next step is gonna be make sure the first number can be in the house.
They have to change this, correct? So can one of you explain, what's your next step to fix this?
Next step is you can put the small number now.
Well, is it always a smaller number?
No.
It's the amount that you have, right? And what's the amount that you have?
21.
You have the 21. So yeah, the 21 goes in the house now, and the 40 should be out there. Who agrees that that should be their next step?
I got a question.
Hold on. Did we just learn from a mistake?
Yes.
Did we just learn that the bigger number isn't always the dividend? That's a big lesson. So I love that we just learned from the mistakes that we make. Okay? All right. So can we give them a hand for sharing their work?